The story begins on a warm Australian morning. December 1st, 1948. A man's body is found slumped against the seawall at Somerton Beach, near Adelaide. Looks like he's sleeping, but he's not. He's dressed in a neat brown suit, polished shoes, and a pressed white shirt. Oddly, he's wearing a tie with a strange stripe pattern. The man's hair is tidy, his face calm, almost peaceful. No blood, no wounds, no sign of a struggle. His hands are resting loosely in his lap. But the beach sand beneath him tells a different story. His body is cold, and he's been dead for hours. Police arrive quickly, baffled by the scene. They search his pockets for clues. What they find raises more questions than answers. A train ticket from Adelaide Station. A bus ticket, unused. A pack of juicy fruit gum. A comb. A packet of cigarettes. But the brand inside doesn't match the pack. And no wallet. No cash. Not a single piece of ID. The man is completely anonymous. Detectives take him to the city morgue. The coroner notes his athletic build. He's about 5'11", in his 40s. His hands are soft. No sign of manual labor. His calves are unusually muscular, like a dancer's. And his teeth? They don't match any dental records in Australia. Already, this feels less like a crime scene and more like a spy novel. The police run his fingerprints. They check national and international databases. Nothing. It's like the man never existed. The newspapers pick up the story. Locals start calling him the Somerton Man. The case becomes front-page news across Australia. But the real twist hasn't appeared yet. A few days later, during a final check of his clothing, a pathologist finds something strange. Hidden in a small fob pocket of his trousers is a tiny rolled-up scrap of paper. On it are two words, printed in neat Persian script, Shud. The words mean it is finished, or the end. The scrap looks like it was torn from a book. Police have no idea what it means. But they put out a public call, hoping someone will recognize it. Days later, a man comes forward with a book, a rare collection of Persian poetry called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The final page is missing a scrap of paper. It's a perfect match to the one in the Somerton man's pocket. This copy of the book had been found tossed in the back seat of an unlocked car parked near Somerton Beach, inside the book's back cover. Faint indentations reveal a series of letters, a cipher, 5 lines of random letters, separated into groups. Police think it's some kind of code. Cryptographers try to crack it. Military codebreakers are brought in. No one can solve it. To this day, the code remains unbroken. But the book also contains a phone number. It belongs to a nurse living in Glenelg, just a short walk from where the man was found. Her name is Jessica Thompson. When police visit her, she's nervous. She claims not to know the man. But some officers notice she seems shocked when she sees a plaster cast of his face. She later says she gave a copy of the Rubaiyat to a man named Alfred Boxall during the war. Police track Boxall down, alive and well, holding his own copy of the book. So if the Somerton man isn't Boxall, then who is he? Theories explode in the media. A secret spy, a jilted lover, a man with a rare illness. One doctor suggests digitalis poisoning, a common heart drug deadly in the right dose. But toxicology finds nothing conclusive. The inquest drags on. Without an identity, the case stalls. In June 1949, the Somerton man is buried in Adelaide's West Terrace Cemetery. The epitaph simply reads, "Here lies the unknown man found at Somerton Beach." 1st December 1948. Police keep the plaster bust in storage, hoping someone will one day identify him. But years pass without answers. Then, decades later, a new clue emerges from an unlikely source. DNA technology starts to change the game. Researchers push to exhume the body. Forensic science is ready to give the Somerton man a voice, but the fight for permission takes years. In 2021, the grave is finally opened. Scientists hope his bones hold the secret to his name. But as with everything in this case, nothing is simple. The story of the Somerton man is about to get even stranger. The torn page, the mysterious code, the nervous nurse, all point to hidden truths. And hidden truths have a way of pulling people back in. We've reached the end of the beginning, the next step. Peeling back the layers of lies, half-truths, and unanswered questions. Somerton Beach might have been quiet that morning in 1948. But the mystery it birthed has been echoing ever since, and it's about to echo again, because the man with no name is not ready to fade away. The evidence is still whispering. You just have to know how to listen. Maybe this time, the Somerton man will finally speak. Or maybe he'll take the truth with him again. The year is 2021. After decades of frustration, the South Australian police get approval to exhume the Somerton man. Forensic experts gather at West Terrace Cemetery. Cameras record every step. Beneath the dry Adelaide soil lies a coffin that hasn't been touched for 72 years. Inside, the remains are fragile but well-preserved enough for DNA testing. Tiny bone fragments are collected with surgical precision. Scientists know they might only get one shot at this. The samples go to a lab specializing in ancient DNA. The goal is to extract a genetic profile strong enough for comparison. This isn't CSI speed. It's months of patient lab work. Meanwhile, amateur sleuths on the internet start buzzing. Genealogists volunteer their time. They upload every scrap of known detail into family tree databases. The idea is simple. If you find enough genetic matches, you can trace the family line backward. But with such distant relatives, simple becomes complicated. Still, the work moves forward. Enter Professor Derek Abbott from the University of Adelaide. He's been obsessed with the case for years. Abbott even married the biological daughter of Jessica Thompson, the nurse from the original investigation. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe fate loves to play games. Abbott teams up with Colleen Fitzpatrick, a pioneer in forensic genealogy. They run the DNA profile against public databases. Dozens of distant matches appear. Slowly, they build a family tree stretching back generations. One name begins to stand out: Carl Charles Webb. Born in Melbourne in 1905, a trained electrical engineer and instrument maker. Last known alive in 1947. No death record. His description matches the Somerton man almost perfectly. If the theory is right, Webb had separated from his wife and vanished. Some relatives remember whispers about his disappearance. The timeline fits. But identifying the name doesn't solve the mystery. Why was he in Adelaide? Why the book? Why the code? And most haunting of all, how did he die? Police never found signs of violence. Poison is still the top theory. But the toxin could have been fast-acting and undetectable by 1948 standards. Digitalis? Rare alkaloids? We might never know. Some believe the code wasn't a spy cipher at all. Instead, it could have been a personal mnemonic, initials for words in a poem or song. Others are convinced he was part of Cold War espionage. Australia was swarming with spies after World War II. The Soviet Union had active networks in the region. Adelaide's nearby Woomera test range made it a strategic hotspot. If Webb was a spy, his identity might have been erased intentionally. But there's no direct proof. Then there's the Jessica Thompson connection. Some think she knew more than she admitted. Her reaction to the bust still sparks debate. Did she recognize him from wartime work? Or was he simply an uninvited ghost from her past? The case file is thick with maybes, and each maybe spawns a dozen more. What about the mismatched cigarettes? Ouch. Why carry a bus ticket and never use it? Why hide the scrap of paper in a hidden pocket? None of it adds up cleanly. Theories keep multiplying. Internet forums are full of timelines, code-breaking attempts, and wild speculation. Some dig through archives looking for unreported poisonings. Others scour wartime personnel lists for any Charles Webb who might fit. The mix of fact and rumor makes the case even murkier. Even the should phrase splits opinion. Is it a suicide note? Or a final warning from someone else? The Rubaiyat's poetry often talks about fate, life's fleeting nature, and acceptance of death. That makes the clue feel poetic, but also chilling. Then there's the book's strange journey. Who tossed it into the back of that unlocked car? Was the owner trying to get rid of it, plant it as a decoy? And the cipher, still unsolved after 75 years, stares back like a dare. Even the best cryptographers in the country failed. Which means either it's nonsense, or it's so personal only one person could read it, and that person is gone. For now, the official police stance is cautious. The DNA points strongly to Webb, but they stop short of declaring the case closed. There's no cause of death, no confirmed motive, no full backstory, just an ID and more questions. But for mystery lovers, that's the charm. The Taman Shud case isn't just about finding a name. It's about the space between the facts. The unanswered questions keep it alive. The unanswered questions are why we're still talking about it. But we're not done yet. From Cold War intrigue to tragic love stories, from secret messages to faked deaths, every possibility has its believers. And every believer swears their version is the truth. Well, let's line them up and see which one still stands when the dust settles. Maybe then the Somerton man will rest. Let's start with the spy theory. It's the one that's been whispered the loudest for decades. Post-war Australia was a chessboard for global intelligence agencies. The Woomera test range nearby was testing top-secret missile technology. The Soviet Union was desperate for that intel. If Webb was a spy, his Shud note could be a code phrase. Mission complete. The cipher might have been his last report, or a personal key to a hidden message. Supporters of this theory point to his lack of ID and erased fingerprints in police files. Critics say, no proof, just vibes. Then there's the romance theory. Webb's marriage was falling apart. Maybe he traveled to Adelaide to see someone else, possibly Jessica Thompson. A confrontation went wrong. Poison slipped into a drink. Death was quick and silent. Jessica's shock at the bust could be guilt, or fear of what the truth would do to her family. This theory paints the cipher as a love note, or a list of meeting places. Then comes the suicide theory. The Shud phrase, the end fits perfectly. Webb, heartbroken and alone, takes poison on the beach. The cipher could be a stream of thoughts or initials of personal memories. No one else involved. But if that's true, why hide his identity so completely? Why carry no personal belongings? And why toss the book into a stranger's car? Next, the random crime theory. Wrong place, wrong time. He meets someone dangerous. They rob him, dump his body. The Shud scrap is planted to confuse the police. It's the least romantic, but simplest explanation. Problem is, nothing in the crime scene screams robbery. His clothes were neat, his pockets were organized, and the Rubiat connection is still too strange to dismiss. Then there's the fringe theory crowd. Some think Webb wasn't Webb at all. They believe he faked his own death. The body on the beach was a stand-in. The real man vanished overseas with a new identity. Sounds wild, until you realize Cold War spies did exactly that. Others say he was part of a smuggling ring. His cipher might be shipment codes. The Rubiat a signal to insiders, and the death a warning to anyone else thinking of talking. Even the cigarette swap has theories. Some say it's proof of a staged scene, a detail meant to confuse investigators. Or maybe the cigarettes carried the poison, slow-acting, tasteless, undetectable. Every clue is a puzzle piece, but half the pieces are from a different puzzle. Webb's possible ID has closed one door. But it's opened 3 more. His skills as an engineer could have made him valuable to intelligence agencies. His personal life gave him reasons to disappear, and his presence in Adelaide remains unexplained. Which theory is right? The official police stance is cautious. They won't declare it solved without stronger proof. And maybe that's for the best, because the mystery's power lies in its shadows. If everything were clear, the Somerton man would fade from memory. He hasn't. Each year, new people stumble on the case. They fall down the rabbit hole of articles, photos, and theories. They see the calm face in that morgue photo, the strange letters of the code, the Persian poetry about life and death. They feel the itch to solve it. Maybe you're feeling it too right now. That's how this case survives. Not through evidence alone, but through obsession. People need to believe the answer is still out there. That somewhere, in an attic or a desk drawer, is a document or a photo that would blow this wide open. And maybe there is. Until then, the Somerton man stays in limbo. A stranger on a beach, dressed for an appointment he never made. A torn page that ends with the end. A code that stares back at us in silence. 70+ years later, we're still listening, still hoping for a whisper. Some believe the truth will come soon. Others think it's already buried forever. But one thing's certain. The Taman Shud case will keep breathing as long as people ask questions. And someone, somewhere, is still asking. Maybe it's a retired detective. Maybe it's a history buff scrolling late at night. Maybe it's you. So tell me, Which theory makes the most sense to you? Was it a spy mission gone wrong? A lover's final act? A coded goodbye to the world? Or something stranger, hiding in plain sight? Either way, the Somerton man still keeps his last secret.
That's it for today's Forgotten Tale. If this story made you raise an eyebrow, or don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that dusty little bell so you never miss another echo from the past. Drop it in the comments. We're always listening for new echoes. Got a weird bit of history you think we should cover? Until next time, keep your curiosity loud and your history weird.